Parts of Wheels Comp Program. Top 6 reasons for license suspension and driving penalties in Alabama. Each state has a list of reasons for eventual or immediate driver's license suspension, but we've collected 6 of the most common reasons a driver ends up with a suspended license. We will also cover some of Alabama's most common driving penalties. Number 1. Point accumulation. Most states have a point system that assigns points to both minor and major traffic offenses. Once a driver reaches a certain number of points within a predetermined time period, he ends up with a suspended license. License suspension for point accumulation usually lasts for a predetermined time period, the length of which depends on the number of points. Number 2. Repeat violations. Generally, repeat violations, also called habitual offenses, refer to racking up a certain number of specific violations within a specific time frame. For example, several states suspend licenses after drivers commit a certain number of reckless driving offenses, usually 2 or 3, within a specific time frame, usually 12 months to 3 years. Note, depending on your state, you could receive a habitual offender status for getting a certain number of convictions within a certain time period, regardless of the specific violations. Number 3. Serious offenses. Depending on your state, some serious violations, or convictions, lead to immediate license suspension. Examples include 1. Driving under the influence, DUI, driving while intoxicated, DWI, operating while intoxicated, OWI, or whatever name your state has for it. 2. Felonies involving a motor vehicle. 3. Vehicular manslaughter or homicide. 4. Leaving the scene of an accident. 5. Fleeing or evading the police. Your state's automotive law more concretely outlines these offenses. Number 4. Driving record inaccuracies. Driving record inaccuracies can include 1. A higher number of driving record points than you actually have. 2. Traffic tickets that you beat in court or that the judge dropped because you completed traffic school. 3. DUI convictions that you beat or of which you were found not guilty. Accurate or not, any of the above items can lead to license suspension, so periodically check your driving record to make sure it reflects true information. Number 5. No insurance. You could end up with a suspended license if you're caught driving without auto insurance, or even without proof of insurance. Note, some states provide a little wiggle room here, meaning, if you're caught driving without proof of insurance, you might receive a traffic ticket and instructions to show up at the DMV, City Hall, or police station with proof by a certain date. Once you do, the officer or judge might drop your ticket or have you pay a fine and avoid suspension. Number 6. Plain old forgetfulness. Maybe you were supposed to pay a fine and forgot. Perhaps your judge said if you attended traffic school he'd drop the ticket but you missed the cutoff date. Say you had a traffic court date and doctor's appointment at the same time but didn't make arrangements. Any of these scenarios can lead to license suspension, so mark your calendar, set your cell phone alarm, stick post-it notes all over your home, do whatever you have to do to remember and meet your requirements and avoid a suspended license and the reinstate license process. Alabama driving penalties. www.dmv.com.al. Moving violations and points in Alabama. Moving violation points in Alabama can be assessed against your driving transcript for traffic offenses committed within or out of state. A different number of demerit points is attached to each violation based on its severity. For instance, you will receive 6 reckless driving points provided you have endangered the safety of other traffic participants due to reckless driving. Demerit points for speeding in Alabama are also assessed per the state point system. If you have been convicted for speeding not more than 25 miles per hour over the limit, you will amass 2 points. 5 speeding ticket points will be calculated for operating 26 or more mile per hour over the speed limit. The state of Alabama also adds 6 DUI points for convictions of driving while under the influence that did not result in an immediate revocation of your driving license. The below list outlines other traffic violations and their corresponding points. 1 Failure to yield right of way, 5 points. 2 following too closely, 3 points. 3 improper lane offense, 2 points. 4 improper turn, 2 points. Penalties in Alabama. DUI points in Alabama and other types of violation points will lose their value after a period of 2 years. Drivers who amass too many traffic ticket penalty points on their driving record within 2 years, however, are generally at risk of incurring adverse effects on their licensure. For instance, if you accrue between 12 and 14 penalty points in 2 years, you will face a 60-day driver's license suspension. The accumulation of 15 to 17 infraction points in AL will result in a 90-day suspension of your credential. Note that the more points you accrue within the allotted time frame, the longer your suspension period will be. More serious offenses in Alabama, such as driving while under the influence that results in DUI penalties, may lead to other negative consequences in addition to points on your report. A first DUI offense may not only result in Alabama traffic ticket penalty points and a license suspension, but it will also require you to either pay a fine of $600 to $2,100 or serve up to 1 year in jail. In some instances, drivers may be obliged to do both. A second conviction within 5 years imposes a fine between $1,100 and $5,100, a 1-year imprisonment, or both, a license revocation, a 20-day community service, or a 48-hour mandatory jail time. The state DPS and/or the presiding court will impose even stricter penalties for subsequent DUI violations. How to fix an Alabama driving record. In order to avoid being penalized due to driver's license points, motorists generally have the option to enroll into a traffic school course. Taking an online defensive driving course is the most convenient way to reduce license points and acquire safe driving habits, provided the corresponding court accepts such option. Drivers who wish to earn a DMV point reduction in Alabama may not be able to avoid the accumulation of points by completing an online driving school course. Instead, certain courts may allow motorists to graduate from traffic school to become eligible for ticket dismissal. To check whether your traffic violation court accepts online Alabama driving safety courses for dismissal of your charges, contact its offices. Disputing an Alabama moving violation charge. Motorists usually decide to fight a speeding ticket or other types of citations if they believe they were unjustly cited for the offense in question. Drivers must initiate the process of contesting a traffic ticket in Alabama in a timely manner, unless they want to face further penalties as a result. The deadline by which motorists are required to take such action is usually displayed on the bottom half of their traffic summons. To begin the procedure of fighting speeding tickets in Alabama, drivers will need to submit a plea of not guilty by personally visiting the court handling their case. The next step of disputing a traffic ticket is to request a trial date. Since fighting a speeding ticket or other traffic summons is rather complex, motorists must prepare a strong defense, and even hire an experienced lawyer to represent them in court. At the trial, they will need to present any credible evidence and call relevant witnesses to testify on their behalf. If found guilty of their offense, drivers may face Alabama penalty points on their driving record, or an automatic license suspension in case of a more serious misdemeanor.